What's up, YouTube? It's me, Joe Schmmo, and I am back for another manga review. This is going to be one that was recommended to me by good old Ntwelve. You know him from the channel, from my other ventures as well. But this is called In the Land of Ledale. You can look at this as something that came out at the same time as Overlord, chronologically. Like, Overlord was a light novel longer, but around the same time as the manga, I believe, this came out. This deals with the VMR MMO world, the virtual reality with MMOs, all that jazzy stuff. But let's get right into it. Just like usual, I'll do a brief overview, then I'll do in-depth where I talk about the book itself, and then I'll give an art where we talk about the art, the pacing, all that, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's hop right into it. When Kenya Kagami's life support accidentally gets cut off, she suddenly finds herself in the body of a high elf, Kanya, her avatar in the VR MMO RPG known as Ledale. But 200 years have passed from when she last logged in, and as she seizes the second chance of life in a world both familiar and strange, she'll have to figure out for herself just how much time it has changed everything around her. So in this book, you follow this girl, and we'll just call her Kanya, or Kana? We'll call her Kana. I don't know how to actually pronounce it. She wakes up. The book starts. She wakes up, and she stretches out. She's like, all right, cool, time to... And then she, like, realizes she doesn't have the life support, like, all of these wires and all this stuff to her. Some random girl comes up and wakes her up. She gets freaked out, and then she realizes she's not in her world. As the book goes on, it paces. You learn about the world. It goes into depth about the system, how admins did things when the game ran. She compares it to what she's dealing with now. She's looking at items in her inventory, like I said, comparing it to when the game was actually live and working compared to what she is now inside the game. Then she realizes the interaction with the NPCs are way different than she used to, and they're basically normal people that don't have magic. And that's when she discovers when she's sitting at the bar, 200 years have passed. All these things, like these zones is what they call it later on in the book, but all these zones were nations and they ended up going to war with each other, and a lot of stuff has happened in 200 years. And basically people from like her NPC, or not her NPCs, other characters of the game and players have been around for 200 years roughly. So she goes on this journey trying to figure out what she can find out, where she can find out. She tries to find her old hideout and where she posted up a lot, where she kept her spare items, and she goes in there and checks all this stuff out. It's a very nice, slow pace. It's not overwhelming. There's not a lot of action in it. There's a couple little things here and there, but it's mostly just sit back, relax, let's get this story started. Let's enjoy this nice little pace with a little bit of fantasy MMO, all that stuff. You can compare the beginning of it kind of like to Log Horizon, but minus the like 50,000 people. It's more of, all right, I'm in this world. I need to figure out how to do this stuff. Can I use this? Can I do that? Do the same rules apply to this? Can I go ahead and make all this? It's very intuitive with that, and I really like seeing that kind of aspect. And all that stuff always interests me, which is why Log Horizon is one of my favorite of the genre minus Overlord. And yes, you could say, well, sword art's like that, blah blah blah. It's a different thing. With sword art, it was the first day and you had to go hit the ground running. With like Ledale, Yggdrasil, which is Overlord's, and then with forget Log Horizon's thing, I can't remember now. They all played. They're used to it. All of a sudden they're in this world, so now they need to figure out what they need to do. How can they do this? Does this taste like this? Blah 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 blah. Side note, with this, the food tastes normal, amazing apparently. Like, I mean, for a girl that was bedridden, of anything would taste good, but that's my general view over it. I hear it's one of the better ones out there. It was the precursor and one of the starters for the VR MMO series, from what I hear. So go check that out. But let's go into more detail because there's a couple things I want to talk about. So here's the time code to the art, and when we talk about the, everything like that. So there you go. So in the beginning, like I said, you wake up and bam, she's there. She's waking up out of bed because some little May girl comes and wakes her up. She says, hi, how you doing? Wait a minute, why are you here? Who are you? And starts going off the trails of that. For her, it's essentially, well, in the eyes of the NPC, she came in last night and she just woke up. When in reality, it's been 200 years for her. She last asked questions. And the little girl didn't know anything, so she woke up and went down for breakfast. That's when she got talking to the maid keeper. She started asking questions here and there, and that's when she gave the download. Basically, it's been a 200-year gap since our main character logged in and became the characters that she is. There was the giant civil war. None of the players have been around since that time, so magic's not as common anymore. The town that she in is not as busy as it was 200 years ago, and they make reference to that. They said, oh, it hasn't been like busy since my great-great-grandfather. You're really the only travel we've had in a little while. And they go more into depth about different things that have happened. So Kaya's idea is, okay, let me see what I have. Let me go from there. Let me retrace my steps. See, let me try to log out. She can't log out. Let me contact the admins. Can't contact the admins. Alright, cool, whatever. Like I said, it's like Log Horizon and Overlord in that regards. And like I said, it's a good comparison to them because it's more of them freaking out than they kind of learn how to run and roll with it because they used to playing and then, well, crap, I'm this overpowered character, but I don't know what to do and how to do it. So she walks around town, gets to see what the sights are, still can't figure out what to do, and that's when she's like, let me go to my old hideout. Well, when she was in the game, there was a thing called skill crafting, which basically they can make a scroll and learn a skill without doing all this stuff, and the people who ended up learning it got bombarded, so the admins were like, they're going to be given a quest, and if you want to do it, you got to beat their trial or whatever. For her, it was heading up this tower that looks like the tower from Dragon Ball, and I'll post a picture here. It looks exactly like that. And her quest was you had to be going non-stop for 24 hours. You had to keep going. And if you never gave up, you'd be good and Fran and she would help you. So she gets to the top while the gate guardian's there, and he's like, oh, you finally show up, and starts having attitude with her, and then she gets it back in the thing because, she's the master and all that. And that's when you find out that there was an NPC adoption thing in this, where technically she has 3 children. She has like two elf children and adopt a dwarf one, which I'm curious of when they're going to be introduced, because they tease at the end of the first volume the first child that really, really loved Mama, who had a Mama issue. He'll be coming into play in the second volume, so I'm looking really forward to that. But the Gate Guardian says, hey, your son dropped by. This is what he said. He misses you. It's been 60 years since he dropped by. And, since you're finally back, why don't you go look for him? She said, well, I'll put that on my list to do. She got some stuff, talk to him for a little bit longer, and get out the way. And he also requested for her to go check on the other, trials, because there's other Gate Guardians like him. They're just sitting there because people haven't been here for 200 years. So, she heads back to her place, which I say the inn. They try to, pay the innkeeper a lot more money than what it's worth. She said, no, blah, 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 blah. It goes like that, try to be generous. So she started thinking of how she could help the village and sit a relaxed life. She's like, you know what, I'm going to take this second lease on life. Let me be relaxed. But let me help this village. She started walking around. She sees this abandoned building. She's like, I got an idea. I want to renovate and do some stuff in this village to help the people out. So she goes, she builds up this well to make it easy for anyone to do it, where basically with the quick crank, water starts going, does like this bucket thing, and it goes into more detail about it in the book. And then she gets an idea for this abandoned building, and that's pretty much where it ends. So you're left on the thing of, alright, cool, she's going to take it nice and gentle, and where is she going to go with it? Because she's this overpowered. She did the quest that no one else did. It was her and a group of others. They completed it because the level cap was 1,000, and now she's a level 1,100. So she broke the level cap, did a bunch of other things, but she's just like, since in the real world, I was in a plane crash and was on the ventilators practically, I want to take this second lease on life and do things that I couldn't normally do. Which I like that aspect of, I just want to relax and have a normal life and let me blend in with these people, and these people have been treating me kindly since I've been here. I love that. I love seeing that. I've done that with multiple series on this channel, doing manga reviews. I've recovered a couple of them. One of them should be A Farmer Life in Another World. I like that. That's like one where he's like, I was sick and all this, but I have a second lease on life. Let me do this. Slime's another good one. He's just like, I want to be normal. I just want to have a fun community with people I love. I love seeing stuff like that. So I recommend, if you want something like that, go ahead and start picking up this series, because I am, and I know there's an anime out. I have yet to watch the anime. This is purely all manga. So if you want me to do a comparison video, I can do that. But let's talk about the art style that's in this manga. So as you see, the art style is very soft. I say soft because it goes over basically, there's no blood, gore, or anything like that. It's just her trying to make it day by day. It's a very soft undertone. There's nothing really bloody or gory that I've seen in this first volume. minus the fact that something that I covered in the section that you skipped if you went ahead. But everything's very animated. Everything's soft tone. There is a section where, you know, she gets into a quick fight, and then they give her a serious tone like that, which is hilarious. But overall, it's just a simple, straightforward thing of gentleness and overall cuteness. You know, everything has personality. Everything, you know, is simplified to a point. Which, with the theme that they're going in this book of her being relaxed, getting a second lease on life, I think this is perfect art style for it. There's nothing overbearing with it. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too gory. And if we were to colorize it like this, I think it would be beautiful if they all came out colorized like this, because personally I love the color palettes that they gave on the color page. I would really like to see this in a full color volume, but well, you know, maybe that's later on down the line if it gets you know, more popular enough. And this is by Yen Press, which, you know, I have a lot of Yen Press, Viz Signature, and Viz Media and Dead Seas in my collection. That is like some of the main stuff I get. So yes, I will be happy to throw this in the collection. So let me know what you guys think. Shout out to Ntwelve for giving me this recommendation. I finally sat down and read it, and I'm sorry that I didn't get to it. But I will be reading more of this because I want to. And if I find it online to read, I will be reading it and getting ahead. Just like I did with 100 Girlfriends, which I have that in my collection, which that's another harem one, which I find funny. But until next time, guys, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.